yeah, so I'm like, oh my gosh, all these girls, and they're just like, oh, they've got all this time to like get this luxurious hair and these, and I'm like, and here I am, this Michigan girl, I'm looking so tired. Like, like when I first entered. So I was like, damn. But you know what? I knew, and I still know, and I'll never believe, like, I'm confident, but I'm never going to be the prettiest. I'm never going to have the best body. But you know what I do have? I have confidence in the bedroom. I have fun. I'm nice to everyone, right? And I'm professional. So you know what? I get hired back more so than the girls that are difficult to deal with. I'm not a diva on set. Like, I don't need much. Water, lady products, I'm good. Let's throw down. Like, it's time to work. So, so I think a lot of time, like, your enthusiasm, right? And your confidence are very important in everything, every aspect of life. I don't care what you do.
Bam! Jayson Waller here with the True Underdog podcast, and I have got a special guest today. We've got some mutual friends. A lot of you folks know who she is. You've seen her on TV. She is as hot as it gets for a MILF. She's a former porn star, podcast host, entrepreneur, actress, director, webcam model, and she is changing the game in the future, involved in podcasting and anything else that she can help do with cryptocurrency. We talked a little bit about NFT. How are you doing, Kendra Lust?
I'm doing really well. I'm getting amped up, leaving for Florida on Saturday. So spring break is going to be fun. So I'm excited. It's a good day. I don't know, in Michigan, it's okay today. It was like freezing rain. I woke up this morning. I'm like, this really happened. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, we were just sidebarring before we started, and me being in Michigan for a few years, and I said, oh, I missed some of it. You're like, no, you don't, because,
No.
In May in Michigan, and right now it's March, it may snow and it may not. Would you agree?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
that's the weather there.
It's true. You never get too excited because if you have a couple nice days, it's like, okay, cool. Like, I dig it, but no expectations, no disappointments.
Now, have you always grew up, is that where you're from, Michigan?
Yes. Born and raised, and I'm kind of stuck here. I mean, I could move, right? But
Yeah.
I have a lot of family ties here, and a lot of people depend on me, so I'm here, and it's cool.
I think the people of Michigan are some of the best people I've ever met. My old man's from Ferndale, so I'm a big diehard Detroit everything fan. So we moved there for 3 years. I loved it. Weather's horrible, but let's talk about your childhood in Michigan, growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of molded you to get into the career that you've decided to really propel yourself? What changed? What dynamic was it? You wanted to get out of Detroit? What kind of things came up in your childhood to do that?
I mean, when people think of like childhoods, they always think of, people who go into this taboo type of industry. Oh, they must have been assaulted. Oh, it was so traumatic, like drugs. You just think of the worst, and you put everyone in, this I guess space, where, okay, this person must have had this type of childhood. So I think we stereotype people or judge people based on, what they do or why they do it. And for me, I had a really normal, so to speak, childhood. I mean, there was no abuse in the family. It was just normal. Like, I had lower class, middle, maybe, family, and I went to school. I mean, I had friends. I played sports, and I don't know. I just felt like I was always maybe a little bit more, I don't know, not risque, but I felt, I don't know, like, I can't explain how I felt, but I was pretty confident, like, in who I was. So, and I wasn't ashamed of, like, my sexuality or just kind of being me. So while I was nursing, I went on to school, blah, 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 to get a nursing degree. And
I saw that. You went to the University of Michigan, right?
Well, no. But go blue for sure. I love Michigan.
Okay.
My grandpa went there. He played football there many years ago, and my uncle went there. However, I went to Wayne State. I did community college just because I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. So after my nursing degree, I practiced as a nurse, and I worked for about 8 years, and I really liked it. And I really loved it. However, there were some things kind of that happened within my family, like my sister and just my dad, and kind of the shit hit the fan, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I need to help my family, not lose their house, and not, like, kids need Christmas presents, and, so there was a lot of things that were happening. So I don't know, maybe that's just who I am. And I'm like, oh, I already kind of like, being risque. So I started webcamming and making money, and I don't know, then it just kind of was like, and we're off. Like, it is what it is. So
And
yeah, it's
webcamming,
crazy.
let's talk about it. Webcamming now is huge,
Oh
much
my
larger than it
gosh.
used to be. Talk about that. I mean, that
Yeah.
industry is completely taken off.
Oh my gosh. So, then, I mean, webcamming was just, I think it was newer, at least it was newer to me. So I didn't really know a lot about it. I
Yeah.
had someone reach out via, like, I think it was like maybe, I don't even know if it was no, Instagram wasn't there. It was like Twitter, and said, maybe you should do like, a webcam or like a sexy photo shoot, whatever. So I was on this platform and I kind of watched, what some of the other girls were doing, and learned how to, make money on webcam. And the nice thing about it is you could block like certain states. So my mom lived in Florida at that time. And then, I have family here. So I was like blocking states, just naive, not knowing that
Right.
eventually, right, all your goodies are out there and there's no turning back, right? You've come to the dark side,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Everybody's guilty
so
of some of the dark side. So trust me, the
yeah.
Judgment-free zone here.
Yeah. Thank
Everybody's,
you.
yeah, absolutely. But I want some of the folks out there to understand, like when you got into it, you were one of the OGs on the webcam. Like you were, there wasn't a lot of
Yeah.
webcam stars, and now they have I think it's called like Only You pages, right? That I think
I honestly, I don't even know.
that's
Like,
the newest trend, though. It's like
well,
Only Fans or something. I
yeah,
forgot what it's called.
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
That's more, that is what they do, use it for webcamming. However, that is more like a subscription site. So it's really cool. And I
Like
love that.
reoccurring revenue, right? It's a platform. But
It
go ahead.
is.
Yeah.
It is. And you can do whatever you want to do on there, obviously within the guidelines. But it's really nice because you can do any type of production that you want and you own it. So I like that. You can do what you want.
Well, that's what I want to get into is Lust Army. Talk about the mission
Ooh.
of the Lust Army Productions
Yeah.
Company, because that's
Ooh.
next level. You were moving up, and
Mhm.
now you are going ahead and running the show. What's that like?
Okay, so when I started, I was naive, did not know anyone in the industry. I'm a Michigan girl staying in the wrong part of town, getting like, people trying to, take more of a commission. I mean, it was, I really was taken advantage of early on. I mean, probably not as much as I think some of the younger girls. However, you just don't know, right? You don't know
Right.
what you don't know. So, um, as I learned a little bit about the business, I became more interested in like the production side, and I was like, okay, I enjoy, working behind the camera, or excuse me, in front of the camera, but I
Mhm.
want to know what it's like behind. I want to be able to produce something like my vision, and I wanted it to be empowering for women and just do something different, kind of like add something to the resume and just kind of see how I liked it. So I developed or started this production company, and I really did like the idea of it. So I did it for a few years. However, I realized, I was not the best director or producer because I was just kind of like off in La La Land watching the scenes. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to really be in there. I'm like, oh my God, you can't be both. Like, and then, as I did it for a few years, you realize that, DVD is kind of dead, right? It started
Yeah.
dying out. So it really, there wasn't a reason for me to continue. However, it was really cool to do it, at least to say, hey, I did it. And yeah, I was grateful for the experience, but I know I'm not the best director. I'm more hands-on inside, want to be in it.
No, I listen. I respect that you know where the tendencies are of greatness, and it takes somebody who has humility to say, I can do this great, I can't do that great, and I love
No.
that you want to empower women. Right? I'm a dad of 3 daughters, and it's really
Aw.
about it's really about women.
Mm.
I have a son too; he's 11, but my daughters are the oldest, and it's about this is a world where I think still to this day, women are held down.
Yeah.
Women are not paid the same. And I
No.
had this deep discussion back when Clubhouse was popping. I don't know if you've been on
Yeah.
Clubhouse, but it
Yeah, I
was
know.
popping. And now
Yeah.
to me, it's not popping, so I'm not on there.
Hmm.
But we had this discussion and something came up, and I want your opinion on it. Is, they were talking about women in high level jobs, whether they own a business, whether in the C-suite, whether they're an executive, however, whatever the position is, that there's not enough women to do that. And my take was this: if I'm trying to hire a vice president,
Hmm.
and I've got a successful company with over 2,000 employees, and I would love to have more females and more minorities on the team. But one of the things that happen, in my opinion, I'd like your opinion,
Sure.
is men are full of shit, right? So if men see an ad and they're like, "Oh, I'm not that qualified, but I can go in and wing it," they'll apply for the job and interview for the job. Where women are like, "Hold on, I don't have all those. I'm not going to apply for it." They're more reserved and they don't, and they miss the fucking opportunity. Would you agree?
I do agree. I think that maybe it is just because it's been a man's world for so long that if these are the qualifications and I only meet 80%, I am not going to do the company or myself a disservice and apply because technically I'm not really qualified. Where men believe their own bullshit a lot.
Right. Agree. I agreed.
But it's not a bad thing. And I'm not downing men for that. Like I think sometimes their confidence, and the thing is sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. So, I'm not downing men. I mean, you take an opportunity. If you are offered or you have an opportunity in front of you and you don't know everything, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I would rather take that opportunity than like miss the opportunity. Okay. And I'll learn as I go. I'll work like twice as hard to like make sure that I'm qualified. But I think you're right though. You're right.
Yeah, I think, and look, and I tell my girls, they're bosses. Like my 23-year-old, I feel bad for my future ex-son-in-law. They're engaged. And I say future ex, right? Because I don't know if they're going to work out. So I'm always busting his chops. But she's a bully. She's like, Alex, do this. Alex, do that. And I wouldn't want it any other way. Like as a dad of girls, you're like, I want you to run the show. I don't want you to depend on a man. This isn't a man's world. This is anybody's world. And I'm a big believer of if more women were to step out and take that chance, bet on themselves, have the confidence, right? Then when if I interview 10 people, and I'm a sales guy, if I interview 10 females and 10 males for a sales position, 8 of those females are totally qualified and can crush it, 3 of the men. But I can't get 10 to interview. I get 2. That's what usually happens is the numbers. Because I think women, especially in the sales industry or in most any industry, people trust them more, right? You agree?
I would agree. And I like how you ended that. Wouldn't you agree? That's a nice always be closing. I like that.
You see, ABC, you get it. Listen, you get it. You can close. I can tell you're a salesperson. You can close a few deals.
I don't know.
Naturally, I can tell. I can tell the whole dynamic. You could close some stuff.
It depends on. In all honesty, though, like if I have conviction in what I'm saying or believing, like I couldn't sell furniture for shit. Like I was terrible. I mean, I was in college and I'm like, oh my God, this is just like, I felt guilty. I'm like, I cannot sell these people furniture like this. I know it's going to go on sale. Like, I don't want to. So I was terrible. I didn't last very long. At that, I was just like, yeah, I'm just not cut out for this. However, as far as, a talent agency, that I owned and, recruited girls, that type of thing. I'm like, you know what? I knew it was because I was telling the truth, right? So.
Well, and you're passionate about what you do, regardless of what anybody does. Yeah. If you're passionate about something and you believe it, then other people believe in you. And you touched on something. You said you were very confident, right? And I give credit to you because a woman who is confident, if she's a 7, but she has confidence, she's a 9. And if she's a 9 and she lacks confidence, she goes to like a 5 or 6.
Yes.
We have to have more people with confidence. I don't have a problem with people being risque or sharing sexuality. I'm a fan. I get it. I'm all in, right? All in. Totally get it. I think I'm pretty hot. I'm a gilf, right? A grandpa. Because I got 2 grandkids, right? So the young grandpa. So
grandpa.
That's right, a hip grandpa. So I like to feel confident when I walk into a room. I want to own the room. I might not be the best looking. I might not be the richest. I might not be the biggest, the fastest. But when I walk in, I am the alpha. I am exuberate confidence. And I try to tell people, especially females, it's so important because if you break and you're insecure, the qualities, even whether you're hiring somebody, you want to date somebody, you have a relationship with somebody, it's the biggest turnoff and you lose points, right?
You're right. And I always, I love, like, we're really on the same page because I say that line all the time, except when I say a 7 with confidence takes them to a 10 because that's how much, like, it is. I feel it is important. In the industry, I'm looking at all these girls and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, they're so beautiful. They got all this beautiful, like, I learned as I
Great
went how to
features, yeah.
maintain. Yeah. Or,
Hey, the show's not PG-13. You can say what you want. just so
okay.
you
Yeah.
take
But
that.
I try not to, like,
Yeah, you're good.
swear too much unless I'm mad or, like, in the bedroom. So, yeah. So I'm like, oh my gosh, all these girls, and they're just like, oh, they've got all this time to, like, get this luxurious hair and these, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and here I am, this Michigan girl, I'm looking so tired. Like, like when I first entered. So I was like, damn. But you know what? I knew, and I still know, and I'll never believe, like, I'm confident, but I'm never going to be the prettiest. I'm never going to have the best body. But you know what I do have? I have confidence in the bedroom. I have fun. I'm nice to everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm professional. So you know what? I get hired back more so than the girls that are difficult to deal with. I'm not a diva on set. Like, I don't need much. Water, lady products, I'm good. Let's throw down. Like, it's time to work. So, so I think a lot of time, like, your enthusiasm, right? And your confidence are very important in everything, every aspect of life. I don't care what you do. Yeah. Do it with passion.
And passion and confidence. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the difference I think that we're lacking with social media, right? Some people, it hurts younger generation, especially females. My daughters have been through it too. Like, they're looking at girls with these perfect bodies, editing the photos. I'm like, listen, everybody has their own shit, and I believe God gives everybody 100 attributes, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you get 30 of them towards your looks, and 40 of them towards your brains, and 20 of them towards your personality, and 10 towards sympathy. Like, I have zero sympathy or empathy. I suck at that. Like, God forgot to give me that. But I'm a fucking fighter. I'm not taking no for an answer. We're going to war. I'm ripping ears off to make sure we win. Like, I have that quality, and everybody's different. And so when I see somebody who's amazingly beautiful, there's always something lacking. When then you find someone overly great and intelligent, maybe they're not as beautiful, but if you look and you blend everything to an overall grade, most people are equal. It's just the dynamics of how they were made. That's my opinion. It's like a video game. You take 100 attributes and you pick what they get. That's what I truly believe, that everybody has gifts and everybody has what's going to propel them in life. It's just how you utilize them is how we get there.
I 100%. Gosh, we're not making this interesting because I'm on the same page. But I do agree. And I think sometimes too, when just people in general base everything on aesthetics, right? Or how somebody looks, or even their bank account. Okay. Their success is measured by many different things, and they mean something different to many different people. I feel that, when you walk into a room, it really shouldn't be about how you look. I mean, it's more, I guess, what you can learn from that person. Yeah, maybe that girl or that guy is, 10 times more successful and more beautiful. However, maybe they, again, they have their own issues. You don't know where they came from, what they're dealing with. So we all have our own shit, and we can all kind of learn from each other. Yeah. I just think we have to give people the benefit of the doubt, and a lot of times we don't, because we're just stuck in this, this person's better. Like, who gives a shit? At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter,
Agreed.
So.
No, very well said. I think guys with six packs are douchebags. That's just an opinion of mine. And listen why. Hold on, maybe you agree or disagree. But I'm always on record. The guy that my ex-trainer actually works for the company. He's overtraining. And he's got like this perfect six pack. He's probably the exception to the rule. But I always say, if somebody has that much time to work on themselves, then the rest of their shit's not going well. That's just my opinion. Because, like, I have a pool bod, right? If from here up, it's like, oh, damn. And then it's like, oh, he's a dad or a grandpa, right? That, to me, is normal. So when I hear shit from, like, my trainer or whatever, man, you want to get a six-pack, I'm like, I ain't got time for that shit.
No, a six-pack, and I'm going to agree. I wouldn't say they're douchebags. They just invest in, some people are just genetically.
Not all. Okay. I'm just saying they're so stuck on themselves, they're not worried about the other parts in life.
Yes, right? So, yeah, I know. Or the guys in the mirror, like, I'm like, come on. Like, I do not like all of those. I mean, if you're like a professional bodybuilder or a model, like, whatever.
That's different.
It's different. But if, like, I don't know. I agree. I can't stand it. It drives me crazy at the end of the day. So, gosh, now I'm losing my train of thought as I'm thinking about these people. You want me to train you, baby? Or it's like, okay. Yeah, it's overrated.
So
life's about balance.
Do you do training?
I do. So I fell off, I would say, since October. I was in this, like, just this crappy space. I don't know if it was the winter, like, as, fall's approaching. And, the holidays. So I was just making excuses. I know it. I know it. I know what I needed to do, and I was slacking because I haven't shot professionally for anyone other than myself in 4 years.
Right.
So I don't have to be in peak shape because I'm shooting for my own stuff. Whatever. And then I like woke up one day and I was like, you know what? This is bullshit. You need to get your shit together, not just on the outside, but on the inside. So because what you do does affect how you feel, your health, inside and outside. So I am back on the wagon, and I hate the fact that I'm even measuring. I asked my trainer, Nick, I'm like, seriously, grams? Like, who the fuck does grams? Like 90 grams of chicken. I go, what the fuck is 90 grams of chicken? Like, please tell me. I'm fucking annoyed right now. Okay, I'm annoyed. And I go, and this isn't enough food. I'm going to be hungry. He's like, once you master this, like for a week, like, no, I'm just going to add 100 grams of chicken, because the chicken, I could probably use some meat on my bones right now because I feel like I'm skinny fat right now. It's pissing me off. So I need muscle. But anyway, so yeah, I have Nick 4 days a week. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's good. And I'm back in where I used, like, on the same mindset. Like, okay, you eating is healthy. You can't just like run around all day and forget to eat. It's important. So
it is important. And
yeah, I'm hopping back on.
Good. And talking about muscle and feeling like a badass, let's talk about the UFC and what you've got going on and how the MMA is important to you. Let's talk about that.
Yes, I love mixed martial arts. I have a little one, and she's all in. She's actually there. I'm waiting. I want to text them and say, like, I didn't, like, sometimes yesterday she comes home, she goes, the one day you don't cook, and we don't pick up any dinner on the way home. And I felt bad. I'm like, shoot, so I am going to text them. Just to let them know, but she does it like, oh my God, 4 or 5 days a week. I'm just telling them, pick up dinner in podcast till 6, in case they forgot. So she does it 4 days a week, actually like 5 days. She loves it. She does jujitsu. And so for me, I wanted to become a little bit more familiar with the sport. So met up with Julian a few years ago, and I said, I'm going to do a podcast. You're kind of funny. You're not fighting, but you were a UFC fighter. Do you want to co-host? And he's like, yeah. So we're just kind of like messing around with it. And then I was like, okay, this is a lot of time just to be messing around and not doing anything.
Yeah.
Let's get serious. So right now we're rebranding. So our new name, we've got that. We're working on our logo, which is super cool. I want to, I don't even know if you can see it, but
yeah, let me see it.
Yeah, this is a like potential. I'm like, I'm not sure if I like it. We'll see.
I do like that.
This is just the first one. So we're rebranding. We're going to be doing in Vegas. We are going to have guests on. So it's going to be a well-oiled machine. It's just baby steps. So yeah, we're working.
Well, we're getting ready to go through a rebrand too in our company. I'm going to announce it to the employees on April 11th. And I usually do all our TV commercials, but we're bringing in a female spokeswoman to help lead on that, right?
Congrats.
Girl power. Yep. And it's going to be more of a soft approach. And I think it's important because we're trying to take the company public. So we're trying to take a different stance of what we're doing. But I love rebranding because you get excited again, right? You get rejuvenated. You
do. Yes, absolutely. So
how old's your daughter that's doing jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, she's 10. So she's a badass. I mean, I think we're pretty sure she sprained her ankle and walked on it for 2 days and had no clue. And I'm like, the thing is the size of a bowling. Like, what the hell? What do you mean? She's like, I don't know. So she just really doesn't cry. I'm like, you can cry. She's like, I'm fine. Like, just, I don't know. Maybe we need to wrap it. I think, she is definitely takes after my hubby. Kind of just doesn't sugarcoat anything, very unfiltered, and she's just a tough kid. I mean, and she loves it. So we just took her we went to Columbus for the one that was in Columbus last weekend. So and her friend and her dad, and it was fun. So she likes going, meeting the fighters and hanging out. So it's cool. It's fun for her.
Besides your co-host, which is probably one of your favorite fighters, who are like your top 3 fighters you like to watch fight?
Oh my gosh. Well, if my friend Juan Archuleta, he's in Bellator. I think he's got a fight coming up, but Bellator does theirs a little bit different where they have more space in between. So, of course, Juan Archuleta. I love Eric Anders. He's a UFC fighter as well. He's I don't know if he's got something coming up, but it's hard because I'm biased. These are my friends. So, of course, and I love Misha Tate. She's so cool. She's such an inspiration and a role model for women in sports, like everywhere. So I love her.
Yeah. What did you think of the last big fight? I think it was last month, where those two guys that hated each other.
Yes, Masvidal and Covington.
What's your take on that fight?
So I pretty much knew that Covington was going to win. I mean, there was a lot of animosity, and I think Covington is more well-rounded as a fighter. He has a ground game. He punches hard, and his stand-up's good. He can change levels. He's just a better fighter overall. So I knew that was going to happen. I just didn't know the aftermath. Like, right, there's all this crap that's happening after where, Masvidal sucker punched him, and now it's this legal thing. I just think, like, come on, you lost. Suck it up. Stop saying, like, I respect Masvidal, or I respected him. I kind of lost a little respect when you say, wasn't my day type thing. No, dude, you got out fought. Like, you didn't win. You weren't the better man that day. As long as you're going to be fighting Covington, you're not going to be the better fighter, period. He's just a better fighter. So just suck it up and say that. Stop, like, making excuses, which pissed me off. Yeah. So, yeah.
I would agree. I love the confidence Covington has.
I do too. He is like, wow. But did you hear the press conference before? They were going at it. Dana White couldn't even talk. I mean, he's calling him a dick sniffer. I mean, it was insane. Like, I was dying. I love that though. I love it. It just it amps it up. So I was really looking forward to watching them fight, even though I pretty much knew the outcome. So
yeah, I felt the same way. What is your opinion on that? Is a real animosity. There's real issues there, but some of these times it's not real. What's your take on, like, let's go back to McGregor and Mayweather?
Okay, so I mean, McGregor, he is just the best entertainer to ever come into UFC, right? Yeah. So even the memes, right, that McGregor came up with the Will Smith Chris Rock thing or whatever, were fantastic. Like, his were my favorite. So to me, like, he is the best salesman, entertainer. He might not be the best fighter, because he's not. However, he's extremely talented, and he's made UFC what it is today, right? Mm-hmm. He's changed it. It's entertainment. It's exciting. So, some of it's real, some of it's not with him, but you can't really tell. He's just good at selling it. So
that brings me back to Mayweather. I remember when Mayweather, and he's a Detroit, grew up in Michigan as well. He's a Michigan dude. He used to be Pretty Boy Floyd. Do you remember that? Yeah, and so a lot of people don't. So it was Pretty Boy Floyd. He was like 21-0. He was a champ. He was very passive. He didn't have a big personality. Everybody thought he was just this cute kid that was the champ. And he went and rebranded. Jamie Foxx talked about it on Joe Rogan's podcast like 2 years ago. He decided to make himself a villain. He decided to create this Money Mayweather personality to get people to hate him, to get more sales.
It worked.
He's a fucking genius. And he continues to double down on that. Like fighting Jake Paul or whatever, one of the Paul brothers. Like, what the it's just about money. It's crazy, great, smart.
I don't know if it was Jake or Logan.
It was Logan. He fought Logan.
I think it was Logan, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know Floyd personally or anything like that. However, whatever he's doing, or, he has all these, these gyms, and he's a businessman. Yeah. At the end of the day, they're going to love you or they're going to hate you, but they will watch you. Right. Yeah, so that's the thing. So that's just kind of history, right? There's always a villain, or a heel when it comes to WWE. Right. So I like that. Whatever it takes. Because at the end of the day, we're all entertainers, right? Yeah. We're, we have a craft, but we also have to sell it to people, right? To want to watch us.
I agree. So. What do you got next coming up in the next couple of years for you? I know you talked about the rebrand of the podcast, but how do you see, what's the vision for Kendra here the next couple of years?
Well, at this point, I really want to take the podcast to the next level, and we will. It will happen. So I'm excited about that whole rebranding. I continue to do my OnlyFans, and it is honestly, It's fantastic. It is.
It's a great
so,
platform to get reoccurring revenue. It makes sense.
Amazing.
Why
It
should somebody
really
else
is.
sell your stuff and you don't make money? It makes zero sense.
Yeah, it's really great. So that is that. And then I think I did touch upon it a little bit. I think NFT crypto, everyone has to get in it somehow, learn about it, and I'm learning as I go. But it's a long process, if you want it done right. And I'm working with a great team, so we're slowly but surely. I haven't really even said anything to anybody about it, but NFT, that's in the works. My website is also, that's being redone. I think it's just, I need a change, and I need everything to be streamlined to one platform everywhere, right? And I want to be able to do what I want with it and not have to succumb to, this credit card billing company or this, I want to be able to do everything I want to do. I want to own it, logo, everything. So, and then, marijuana business right now, the market's pretty slow.
That's a booming business though, still.
It is. And I'm thinking right now I have a company interested. People say, oh, we'll give you a commission or a thing. That's a pain in the ass. How about license my name for the duration, and there you go. So how about that?
So me and Rick, we're really close. He's like my brother. If you talk to him, he'll be like, dude, Jason's my brother.
He did. I thought you really was. I was like, oh my God.
Here's how we met. So Dino Rotondo manages Sussman Agency, who does all our TV commercials and stuff and buys our ads nationwide. And he knew I had this podcast that exploded that I do part-time just for fun, but it actually makes money, but I do it for fun.
Good.
And I get a call and he's like, hey, you want to meet White Boy Rick? And I'm living in Michigan at the time, like, who the fuck is White Boy Rick? He's like, you've never seen the movie? I said, no, it sounds fucking weird. He's like, watch the movie. So I watched the movie. I'm like, holy shit, I got to meet this guy. So we go to Bella Piatti right there in Birmingham because Nino's a good friend of mine. So we go there and we sit down and I meet him for the first time. It's supposed to be an hour dinner. I'm there 6.5 hours.
He is so fun.
We end up just being like brothers talking. And then I had this huge party. I used to throw these big parties in Birmingham, big pool parties and bring everybody together. And so I invited him, and I remember my wife and kids, and my kids were super excited, like, that's White Boy Rick, because they go to school and they hear about him. But my wife's like, well, you're inviting him to the house? I'm like, yeah. Half of me's a little nervous. The other half isn't, right? Let's see what happens. He came over. He brought me this painting. We ended up talking for a few hours. I had Barry Sanders come over. He's the biggest Barry Sanders fan. Barry Sanders signed something for him. We just hit it off. He's traveled with my family. He is family, right?
He is,
But he asked me about business. He's like, what? I'm trying to get in the marijuana business. And I told him, we were having a conversation. I said, your name is so vibrant right now, especially in Michigan. You should find a way to sell your name. You should put your name on something and sell it. And that's what he's doing. And I think, and he's doing well. Like he throws some things. Hey, this is the agreement. What do you think? What do you think? And I'm like, negotiate. You should do the same. I could see people buying the shit out of Kendra Lust, doobies or whatever. Like that would fucking crush it.
Yeah. So, like I said, I had a nice proposal from a company local. It was a friend of a friend, and I understand it's the friend is actually kind of like a cousin, brother type to me. Yeah. And I'm thinking, but at the end of the day, it's still business, and that's not enough, in my opinion. So I'm gonna bring another proposal. Well, I'm gonna counter actually because I haven't really even said no. I've just kind of let it chill for a bit. Just because I haven't had time, but I think that would be the smartest way. And then every month, you just up your monthly, right? And then you don't have to worry about the little stuff. So you don't. Just an idea.
But that's what's cool when you build a brand or a name that people admire or want to be. And there's no such thing as bad press. People want to have it. They don't want just this cup of coffee. I want Starbucks, right? They want a name and a brand with something. And you've got a great brand. And Rick is building his brand, right?
Yeah, I'm excited for him. And it's like I don't really ask him about it just because, honestly, I'm just at medicinal. Right. So I only have 72 plants that I have myself. Okay. And then this company is a commercial grow, in Warren. And it's like I have somebody that I pay to kind of do all of the feeding, all the other tedious shit that I don't know anything about. Right. So it's nice, but the market sucks right now. But it'll bounce back. There's a lot of people that will fall off. But I could ask Rick about questions. But the thing is, I'm not he's probably not tending to it. He's got his stuff.
He just sold his name. He gets a salary.
That's awesome.
Gets a salary, and then they label it 8th Amendment White Boy Rick, and he gets a percentage
That's great. Yeah.
of what that is, and it's fantastic. And every
Yeah.
month it just goes up.
I love it. Yeah. And then they can do more. Like, well, I'm sure he already knows that.
Yeah,
can do
they make
pens,
other
They
things,
can
yeah.
do certain specific strains, merch. Like, there, it's endless. And I guess I have to ask, though, I'm wondering how all that works, right? So it's all Michigan based, though. You can't like ship because of those. That's the thing.
Company he's with, which is Pleasantries, they have.
Nice.
I think they partnered with somebody else, and they're trying to go public, and they're in other states. But he's getting
Nice.
ready to try to offer his brand in other states, or
That's awesome.
because this is exclusive here. I believe in his contracts. We talked about it, and I believe his attorneys set him up. But this is exclusive here. But if he wants to sell it in Nevada, he can put his name on Nevada products, and somebody will pay for the name brand because all these people that are making product, right?
Yeah.
They're like, how do I get an edge on the other guy? Well, if I put this name on it and charge $1, $2, $3 more and share that profit, it's a win-win because I'm gaining more. The profit might be less, but more equals, you're winning. So that's kind of the math and the science behind it.
Makes
and I think someone like yourself, Rick, people out there that can really get it. And some of these athletes get in, but I still don't think they can carry the stick that a you or Rick would carry in this game.
Yeah, I think a blunt that said "put your lips around this" or something like that, right?
Yes,
okay?
with your picture and
with my
absolutely.
lips, because my lips are going to be trademarked. Like I'm working on some shit.
There
so
you go.
yeah, I'm
Hell
excited. Yeah, so
that's exactly. So think like that. That is how you really capitalize on that. And there's nothing wrong with that industry. Like I'm a fan of the industry. I know it used to be, and I was one of the biggest anti-weed guys like 8 years ago. Like no way. I was. And then all of a sudden it was like, so when I grew up in high school, I didn't ever really do drugs. I got kicked out of I went to 14 schools. I didn't go to college. I didn't finish high school. I had a kid in my teens, built all these companies, tried to walk a straight arrow. I had a hot temper, got in a lot of fights, and was very fucking mouthy. But I was my own boss. I built things up, built 3 companies, very successful. And I remember everybody around me who was doing drugs in high school. I've got 5 best friends, 4 are dead. It's crazy. Yeah. Heroin, pills, whatever the fuck they did. I always stayed away from it. I was around people
Me
that
too.
did.
Yeah.
So the marijuana, I'm like, okay, I never really smoked weed as a kid. Let me try it a few times as an adult. So the first time that I really smoked weed as an adult, I started tripping. We were watching what's the guy, the comedian out of Atlanta. And
is it not Cat Williams?
It is Cat Williams. When it first came out, and he's like, insurgents. I don't even know what the fuck insurgents are, right? Right. And you get the cereal. Baby's all mad. I'm getting cereal. That whole thing. So I decided I took a can. My wife's like, she was a fucking pothead when I met her, and I was like, hey, you want to be with me? You got to quit that shit, right? So, I was young. So then
it's okay.
We get into this, and we're married, and she's like, yeah, let's try this, and this is like 2009, right? 2008. I'm like, all right, yeah, we'll try it. So I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I had a can, and I poked all these holes in a can and put the marijuana on there, and I lit it, and I started inhaling it. And I'm like, I don't feel nothing. And I did that about 35 times. And then she did it a few times, and all of a sudden it hit me. And I had every emotion. You've seen Wolf of Wall Street, and he goes through all those things. The only thing I didn't have was cerebral palsy and drooling. I was crying. I was laughing.
There's your
empathy.
empathy.
Paranoid. I was like, what the fuck? And everything kept repeating. I was losing my mind, where I'm like, I'm never going to do it again. Fast forward about 9 years. I'm friends with a couple NFL players. They do that shit all the time. I had no idea. I'm like, don't you guys get piss tests? They're like, no, like we get told 40 days ahead. I'm like, holy shit. So I decided to try the edibles in Michigan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
First couple times was okay. Next time I'm like, what is wrong with me? What's going on? I'm losing my mind. One of my buddies gave me a 50. I thought it was a 10. I'm vomiting for 3 hours. My wife's FaceTiming like, hey, come get this motherfucker. He's staying with you, right? So all this shit's going on. It's rough. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not built for this shit. But my oldest daughter, who's 23, has major anxiety. And I don't want her taking Klonopins or things like that. And I don't want her drinking all the time. I drink socially. I don't have a problem drinking.
Sure.
But marijuana, over time, me learning about it, learning the business, paying attention to it, thought about investing in it. It is, dude, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm a big fan. I'd rather my kids, if they're going to pick something for anxiety or anything, I'd rather them do marijuana 10 out of 10 rather than drink or pop a pill. 10 out of 10. And
Yep.
so I'm a fan, and I think
Yeah,
it has a purpose. I
it
think some
does.
people abuse it, and that's
Sure.
unfortunate, but I totally get it, and I'm a fan. And I'm one that has changed, and I shared that with Rick. I was literally did a 180 where I'm like, look, adds a lot of value to people.
It does. Working as a nurse, I did hospice the last, well, 2006 to 2009. And, that was really game changing for a lot of the patients. It really was, as far as, especially, I mean, somebody who's terminal, right? So it's, they're worried that, they can't breathe. So it helps to just kind of relax them. It didn't necessarily slow their bleed, but definitely anxiety opposed to like popping a pill, especially like even in these elderly patients, because they don't metabolize the medicine the same, right? And then a lot of them have the misconception about becoming addicted. I mean, they're so sweet, and you kind of have to like respect what they think and their mentality. So the physician that I worked with would prescribe that when needed. So it has a purpose, and I just think everything in moderation, right? You can't just, that's life. A good, I mean, except for like hardcore drugs, like, okay, no, you can't moderate that shit. Like, just don't do it, okay? Because they're, especially what they're doing these days. I just read an article, and I tried not to read too much news, but they were worried about fentanyl, right? And how it's killing kids, right?
Yes.
Now there's this thing called ISO. It's abbreviation, and I guess you thought fentanyl was strong. This is, if it comes in contact with someone, they can overdose, and Narcan doesn't work for it. It's coming from China, coming to Mexico, coming into United States. So. So hey, yeah. So you know what? I'm with you on that. Toke up.
Yeah, get the natural stuff and go buy Kendra's version or buy Rick's version.
There you go.
That's
mine's not even there. Get Rick's for now.
It's coming though. It's coming. I believe it's going to come. So you talked about, before we wrap up here, you started doing your own internal filming instead of going back the way you used to do it. That's becoming an entrepreneur and running your own business and your own growth there. Yeah. Talk about that transition.
So it was 2000, oh my gosh, 19, 20, yeah, about 4 years ago. Okay. So right about when I stopped filming for anybody else, I was introduced to the platform that I spoke about, the OnlyFans, and I thought, well, I have to do all this, the editing and all, I just don't know that I'm gonna be able to do 5 people's jobs, right? Yeah. And to be able to be successful at it. So what I did was I tried to do it myself for a month, took my stats, my analytics, and compared it to having help with my production and, a videographer, editor. And once I saw the change, once we put the content out, it was definitely more worth it. So it's essentially, you're running your own thing, and you don't even have to have like a videographer. You don't have to do anything professional. You could do all your own stuff, like amateur, however you want to run your account it's up to you, because you own it, right? You do whatever you want with it. So it's really nice because it allows a lot of people to run their own platform, develop their own style, I guess. And then what I decided to do is to help other girls, or if people come to me, or I may reach out to girls to refer them, and then help them kind of get set up with people who can kind of help them with some of their production stuff. Because that's the hardest part. It's just editing stuff and getting the promotional stuff out there. So it's helped, and it's, it is nice. I like it. So.
Good. Well, I always aspire. People are scared for change, right? People are scared to take a chance. And we talked about confidence, but it's also too many people in life play it safe. They play to not lose rather than playing to win. And you took an opportunity here and transitioned and played to win, something for yourself. You took a risk. And a lot of folks out there, listeners and viewers, they get scared to take a risk. They're in a dead-end job. They're not doing what they want to do. They're scared of what people may think of them if they do something else. Yeah. They're scared of failing. They're scared of the letdown. They're scared of the judgment. There's so many factors that really dictate people's lives. It's sad because they only get one life. You get one opportunity to live your best life for you, not for anybody else. For you, and people seem to forget that.
I completely agree with that. I think though I think it sounds easier than what it is, because if maybe I didn't have the support of my husband to be able to make the transition to say I'm just going to do everything myself, and I have to give a huge shout out to Johnny Castle, aka Rocco's his name. He is really, really him and Grant and Mandy and I can't even Jamie Morgan, Audrey, all of these people who have really kind of helped me. So I really owe them a lot because they've helped me to kind of take that chance because I wasn't going to. I'm like, I don't know. It is scary. So, and a lot of people don't have the luxury of having maybe a little nest egg or the support, so it is scary. And it's, but I think one of the biggest things that people do that I wish I would have learned a long time ago is to not worry so much or live by the rules of like what your parents think you should do or
Right.
At the end of the day, because I feel you kind of live in prison, right? If you're living by everybody else's rules and you're doing things because you feel you're doing it to please other people and you're dying inside or you're sad. I'm not saying like go break the law and be a freaking outlaw, like don't be an asshole, okay, or some dumb shit, but just you should like be passionate about whatever it is that you're going to do. If you want to do hair, like cosmetology, like whatever you're passionate about, and I think that we're just too worried about everybody else. And I think we grow out of that as we get older.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I always tell our little one, like, I don't care what you are in life. If you choose to be a fighter, if you choose to be a ballerina, like, she's like, that'll never happen. I don't care.
Yeah.
We want you happy and healthy and a good person and be kind and, don't do drugs and just, I know you're going to follow most of the rules. Some are meant to be broken. I get it. But just, don't have the police bring you home, okay? Because your dad will kill you. But just, at the end of the day, just like be a good person, but follow your heart, right?
Yeah, no, well said. And I think, at least in our generation, to me, there was a lot of pressure of you were judged. If you didn't go to college and get the family and have the job, then you were a loser. Like, and I didn't go to college. So I used to have this insecurity when I first opened a company of people I would hire that had college degrees that worked for me. And I struggled. This was early on in my career. I was like, how do I overcome that? And it took me almost losing my first business, and I'm 24 years old, to really find my way and be like, fuck that. You work for me. This is my show. I don't give a shit if I didn't go to school, but and I was blessed in that way where I could find that inner me to change it and always be confident, run the show regardless. Good. But I used to be intimidated, and it's because of the pressure from even my generation and my parents up. Yeah. You got to go to college. You got to do this. This is the life you're supposed to live. Keep it safe. Play to not lose. Play it safe. Doesn't matter if you win. Don't get outside your box. Don't get outside your comfort zone. Don't be this. Don't be that. It doesn't matter. You got to stick to this. And I think and I even started that with my oldest until she hit about 16. And I realized she wasn't going to go to college. She fucking hated school. And I said, look, I don't care if you want to go work at Walmart, you want to go blow dry hair, you want to mow lawns, you want to just fucking draw. Whatever it is you want to do, I just want you to be happy. We'll figure everything else out. My 11-year-old wants to be a YouTuber. I'm like, fuck, let's make you the biggest YouTuber on the planet. Let's go. Like, I'm okay with that, but we have to let our children know that there's no pressure. The world we live in today isn't the world from our parents before, where that is the judgment. We have to open that up. Right?
We have to, because if we don't evolve with our children, right, then we kind of get left behind. And then I think that causes, a big rift in the relationship. You kind of close down communication and you lose, that bond. I mean, and I'm thinking to myself, like sometimes like she'll be like, Mom, come watch this TikTok. And I'm like, motherfucker, another TikTok. Like, are you like that? Like, I'm just like, and some of them are funny, but I'm just like, what? But those little connections, like, just taking a few minutes or whatever. And, I feel like that'll help like foster, good communication and just, I don't know, a better bond. So he or she can kind of do what they want. And, they know that as you're being a parent, you're going to love your kids unconditionally. Like, doesn't matter, period. No matter what.
That's
okay.
Right.
But my thing is you have to try. You may not like school, but you're still going to get good grades. Okay. And I want 80%. I don't give a shit. As long as you're trying, if you get all A's, I'm ecstatic. But if you give me 100% effort and you only get 80%, I'm happy. So you got to try.
I
Okay.
agree. I agree. Yeah, in finishing school, I agree. They have to try. They have to make the effort. They have to learn the work
Yeah,
ethic.
that's
A
it.
lot of people today don't understand work ethic, so it's crazy to me. I'd like to close. A couple fireside questions. Who you're a big sports fan,
Yeah.
big football fan. Who's your favorite quarterback besides
Yes.
Tom
Yes.
Brady? Because you go ahead and talk about Tom Brady, then give me the second one. Show it off.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah, this is so cool. It's one of a kind. It was I think you said you had something ordered. Look at that.
That is sick.
Isn't this just
Sick.
insane, right?
And you had him sign it, right?
Sign, yeah.
Look at that. That is sick. I
Okay.
love that.
Insane. Yeah, he's probably my number one. Okay. And I was watching First Take this morning, a little pissed off at one of the commentators or whatever people on the show that was saying like, oh, it's gonna be boring, like, oh, what does he have left to prove? Like, it's not up to you. Okay, he's still winning. Okay, so it's always exciting. I don't care how many times he's done it. I'm Tom Brady for life. Okay, I
Me
don't give a
too.
shit about Aaron Rodgers and, oh, poor Aaron Rodgers and his, I don't care. I don't want to look at your foot. I don't care about your hair. I don't care. Like, Aaron Rodgers, you're great, but you do have something to prove still. Second, first is Tom Brady, second, Joe Burrow. Nicest guy ever.
Love Joe Burrow.
He
We're on the same page so
just
far.
met him on Saturday. It was kind of cool because the two little ones were heading back and she saw him. She's like, hi, Joe, would you take a picture with it? He's like, oh yeah. He was having people like kind of like trying to get upstairs, but he completely stopped. He was nice. He took the time to talk. Joe Burrow. And I like Patrick Mahomes too. Like he has a long career ahead of him. He's just great. Class act. I like him.
I love that you're passionate about sports. That's so fucking cool. So
Yeah.
Tom Brady's my one by far. Love him.
Okay.
I love winners. I love people that have confidence, and I love to
Yeah.
see people fucking win. And I
Yeah.
love that he wants to continue to win.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you on the Aaron Rodgers, biggest baby, fucking wins all these MVPs, can't win a big game. They talk about he's a perfect fucking passer. He doesn't win anything. He's got one
I
Super Bowl.
know.
It's like, really?
Yeah. Oh,
Eli Manning has more Super Bowls than you.
Wait, I'm thinking he didn't have one yet. Yeah, that's right.
He had one.
Yeah,
he had one.
okay.
That's it. Which is still a problem.
It's still good though. Yeah, but he still has a lot left to prove. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he does a shit ton. And then I am a huge Joe Burrow fan. My son loves Joe Burrow. My son and Joe Burrow look identical. Like
Really?
my son is Joe Burrow at 11. I'm like, man, maybe he's your daddy. Like they look identical. And my son plays quarterback. He's a badass football player.
That's
But
awesome.
he's a huge Burrow fan, and he was all intimidated because we're Lions for life. And before the Super Bowl, he's like, can I get a Bengals jersey? I'm like, fuck yeah, you can. He's like, just checking. I ordered a Joe Burrow jersey. So he was jacked. We were disappointed he didn't win the Super Bowl.
I
But
know. It won't be the last time he's there. This kid has
I wanted him to beat Stafford. I know Stafford. He's a good guy, but he wasn't ready to fucking win. He's not a leader. He doesn't deserve to win. I don't like his fucking wife. I've gone on record. We don't like each other. We go back and forth. Like, I'm not a fan of his wife. She's a fucking asshole.
She doesn't bother me.
Oh, she totally bothers me because who wears the new goat after you beat Tom Brady? Like, what the fuck?
Okay, you need to check yourself, honey. Let me tell you. No, I wasn't rooting for Stafford because people in Detroit were like, oh, yeah, like LA, like Stafford. I'm like, no, he left. It's not like he was traded. He chose to leave. Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm not rooting for you. I'm going to root for Burrow. That's, Stafford did a lot of great things for
Great
Detroit.
things. Great person,
so
great things.
But yeah, I don't know. I was kind of rooting for Burrow. I don't know. It would be
It's
cool.
bittersweet because you feel bad for Stafford that like he's given 10
Yeah.
years and busted his ass and he got something. But my whole issue was his wife. And I went on record saying that it was at the Woodward Sports thing there in Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
I went on record saying, like, he won't win a Super Bowl. He's never won anything in his life. That was early on, so I had to eat crow. But my whole point is this.
Mm-hmm.
After 2 checkdowns, he doesn't get it. Mike Lombardi, when he left the Lions before Jim Bob Cooter came as the offensive coordinator, he wrote he had to dumb down the offense for Matthew Stafford. I believe that. I know people in the locker room.
Really?
I talk to him. He's not a leader, and he's not the smartest guy. And I've hung out with him, partied with him a few times.
Huh.
The fucking nicest guy on the planet, but by far zero leadership skills. His wife runs the show. It's just overwhelming, and that's hard when you're the quarterback. And he can't. The reason he's successful in LA is because Sean McVay runs everything. So Sean McVay can be a puppet master. and Stafford just
We're
does it.
just gonna do it.
But a guy who gets 18 interceptions and leads the league, you can't tell me it's because of him they won the Super Bowl. Like, that's not how that went down.
Yeah.
They had major talent.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and it just, I mean, it did suck that he had to leave. But
I
didn't
hate how the
realize
Rams treated Goff too. Like, I feel
Yeah.
bad for the guy.
Yeah, yeah, they kind of like, I don't know, people were talking mad crap about him. I just didn't realize though, I mean, about the offense, like, because the quarterbacks, they have to take IQ tests, right? And the thing is, right, so if they have a high IQ, or no, if they have like a low level or like say mediocre IQ, but they're athletically, talented, right? So once that the athleticism wears down, then it's like, okay, they kind of like filter off and they suck. But I don't know if that's maybe what happened to, I don't know, but 8 years, I don't know. I just didn't realize that though.
Yeah. And then third, I'm not a Mahomes fan. I have to go with maybe a Josh Allen, right?
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Josh Allen. I think he's a good ball player. But we got the number 2 pick, and I'm hoping we get Aiden Hutchinson. What do you think of that?
I don't know anything about him. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know about him. I guess I'm not. I should be more
So
pretty.
he was the Heisman. He was the guy going up for the Heisman
Okay.
for the Michigan Wolverines, and he's the defensive
should
end,
know.
and he'll be
Yeah.
the number 1 or 2 pick. Next
That's
level
exciting.
stud.
Yeah.
Next
Well,
level stud.
we have the second.
The number 2 pick.
Yeah, we screwed that up by winning right the last.
Beating the Packers. Like,
Yeah, I know, right? Oh my gosh.
so bad.
Yeah, we were at the first game that they won this past year, and I was so excited. Only because my mom's like the biggest Lions fan ever. You can't even talk during a game. You walk in front of the screen. She's MFing the grandkids. Like, she's nuts. She's like, get up, and it's you, mother. Like, she is insane. So
That's me, by the way. I used to be the guy painted myself blue. I was that fucking
that was
guy.
you.
That was me with the hair spiked up and blue face. Like, that was me every time until I moved there. And then I had all these like sweets and shit. And I'm like, okay, I can't paint myself blue anymore.
Yeah,
I have to be respectable. I can't be like down there being nuts. So total different dynamic. Well, Kendra, this has been fun. And everyone knows who you are. Like, you're beautiful, you're great, you're fantastic. You got this high energy, you exuberate confidence, you're setting the bar. I'm super excited about your podcast. But where can people find you?
Yeah, I mean, same old here. No, it's you can. My OnlyFans is just onlyfans.com/Kendra Lust. Twitter, Instagram is Kendra Lust, and with Instagram, only a blue check mark. And I do not ask people for gifts, money, Venmo, nothing. So if anybody's doing that, do not send it. It's bull. Okay, I don't do that. So please, that's the only place I communicate really with fans is on my OnlyFans. So
good. Well, thank you, Kendra, for joining the True Underdog podcast. Thank you for sharing some of your story and your and go blue, right? Bam! And that concludes another episode here on True Underdog. If you're interested in hearing more, make sure you subscribe at iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the YouTube channel. You can always visit TrueUnderdog.com, subscribe to all of them. Make sure you check out our newest episodes coming out on Mondays and Thursdays. True Underdog, baby. Bam!